third world nation.
It's
Hi. I was just
yeah.
explaining to Dorothy I live in a third world nation, which is why I'm a couple minutes late. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
me.
oh, we're live. Hi.
You're live. Hi, Dorothy. Quit crashing yourself here.
I'm sending myself a picture um,
Mm-hmm.
from from my phone, obviously. Are
Mm-hmm.
we live? Are we
Yes,
live
we are.
now?
We are live.
We are? Oh, it doesn't show. It's not showing up on my Facebook. I mean, on my
Well,
YouTube.
it
It
should be
says
there.
it's
It
upcoming.
says live. Um,
Okay. Hi,
Ness,
everybody.
I didn't see your comment. I was just over in community posts. You must have posted it like the last 10 minutes. If you want to type your question in caps, I will be glad to
There we
get
are.
it to Dorothy.
Hmm.
And once again, we're going to remind you that uh, charts Dorothy has that she has for people that I've cleared it with them. She has a lot more information than we want people to have. You don't put like your birth times or ascendants in the chat because that gives the public way too much information. And if you don't know
Yeah.
astrology, you wouldn't understand that. But we want to
Yeah.
protect you and the knowledge we give you.
Yeah.
So that's my only proviso. And hello, Dorothy. Is it nice and cool up in New England?
No, it's brutal. It's
How
absolutely brutal.
how high is it?
We have never had a heat wave for us is 3 days of over 90.
Oh
And
God.
yeah, that's a heat wave for us. And that only happens once or twice in a whole summer. And it has been over 90 for more than like somewhere around 10 days. And it's just, there's no end in sight.
Oh dear.
We don't know how to handle with this. We're
No,
delicate. We're
you
little
get
delicate flowers over here.
cold showers and
Uh, yeah, yeah, it's a bit
yeah,
much.
Cheryl, I did get your community page question, so we'll get to those.
Okay.
Um, if you
Yeah.
saw what I posted for today, it's really true. We all get
Yes.
enlightenment. It's like kind of like there are no atheists in foxholes. That's kind of where we are at this point.
Oh my gosh, that's a great way to put it. Yeah.
Whatever can reach in and help me now, help. We are
Yeah.
we're in
Yeah.
the midst of crazies.
These, it is, the astrology is, I have even, even the friends and the people that, just, I was in the middle of working with a student this morning and, I had a friend just message me, well, call, and it's like, no, I'll call you when I'm done. And it's like, what's up? And she's like, ah, that's it. Ah, I'm like, I know we're all needing like these major like places to decompress somehow because
Mhm.
the pressure of just what's in the sky these days is too much. And even if, like you and I, Nancy Jean, are really similar, where on our channels when we don't go over political because
Mhm.
I want to stay out of the fray there. I mean, it doesn't mean I don't pay attention and follow, because I do, just like you do, but I do stay out of it. But that doesn't mean you can't, we're not feeling it. And I know a lot of people are. And again, even if you don't care about that stuff, you got to be feeling the stress and the tension of those that do care and those that are maxed out with this. But there's ways around it too, you know.
There
But
are.
there really is. But I'm gonna not look at us and just look at the charts for a second and just kind of get the feel
Okay.
that today, that Mars Uranus conjunction that happened the other day, um, it's still in play right now because today, on the day we're recording this on the 16th, we do still have the moon in the sign of Scorpio. And when the moon is in Scorpio, it's there once a month. And this is not uncommon for us to feel the moon in Scorpio. And that means what that means for those who are not sure. It feels deeper. We
Mhm.
feel the undercurrent, especially of the things that are a bit manipulative, darker. And I know your audience is like this, so is mine, where we feel those deeper things, right? And it's just
Yeah.
so important for us to figure out how not to get sucked into it. Now, you can get sucked in if you need to be sucked in on it, and and just go with it and feel the dark and feel all the
Right.
yuck, and process it and move out of it. Just don't stay
What I
there.
tell
Just don't
people
stay
do
there.
is to uh, recognize it, because the worst thing you can do is repress it.
Yes. Yeah.
It's the worst thing you can do. I'm going to try something real quick. Dorothy and I are about to get bigger. Makes it easy
Oh,
to see.
much. I like that much
And
better.
you're going to
Thank
have
you.
charts up and stuff, so we need that. Um, that little frame disappeared off my StreamYard about a month ago, and so everybody had to be teeny tiny, and now we get to be back and be real size,
Okay.
just like adults. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I can tell you. I mean, Dorothy and I, by not dwelling in the darkness that has been the last few years. Of course, I
Hmm.
dwelt in the darkness because I worked in the darkness, and
Hmm.
I know, but I ran a show Sunday with a political consultant who also happens to be my son, who just started his own YouTube channel. So if you go to CLSB space politics, you see his intro, and
Hmm.
I got 20 new memberships out of that show. And
Terrific.
I mean, but that happens to be the show I do on Sundays, which is political. But there's a lot of stuff working out there,
Hmm.
and whether you work in it or, my thing has been, um, I found some British shows that I didn't know existed before. The Repair Shop I've known about for a long time. It's been on British television for 18 years. It's their number one show. And people bring stuff to this place and get their old family memorabilia fixed up. And
Hmm.
everybody there is very, very collegial, cooperative. They have every kind of craftsman you could ever want. Um, anyway, it's a lot of fun. And then off that, I found a show called The Bidding Room, where antique dealers or people like that, the people bring things to the show and then they bid on them and they buy it off them. They have about 5 people, so you get a real look at different kinds of antiques and all sorts of stuff. It's a lot like the vintage store I used to work in, so that's kind of fun. But then my latest obsession
Hmm.
is called Money from Nothing. And
Oh,
what
interesting.
they do is they go out to, in England, they have uh, big tip sites where you can take things that would be environmentally dangerous or old doors or glass. Anyway, and they have all these different pits you can throw them in. And these people walk around and they pick 3 items out of for each show. They take them to a recycling, because recycling and upcycling in England is huge. And they show how they take these old beat up wardrobes and turn them into really pretty pieces of furniture. Or
Hmm.
there was a guy who had a gas can, and they turned it into the most incredibly interesting desk light. I mean, really.
Oh, that's awesome.
But what you see is people taking some, and then what happens is when they make it, then they sell it, then they go back to the person who thought it was worth nothing and they give them the money. And so far, the most I've seen
Wow.
anybody get was a couple $1,000s, because I really
Yeah.
upgraded it. So those are things I watch now.
Okay.
I
Can I
don't
tell you
watch
what I watch?
other readers. I don't watch other readers, and
Yeah.
I don't, for sure, right now. I'm not watching. I watch the news enough so that I know what's going on. But
I read Associated Press, and right now I don't even want to read that. But for the last couple of weeks, just an old. This is a very old show. I just use Netflix, and it's called Dexter. And I don't know if
Mhm.
anybody knows it or not, but I mean, because the Pluto transit that's happening right now too, with Pluto at the
Mhm.
end of retrograding back into Capricorn, and
Mhm.
just and all of the things that we're feeling that are all of the changes that are happening in our world that we cannot control, and it just feels heavy and dense. And so one way I've discovered throughout my life that I can sort of use that energy and dissipate it without like actively doing it is to, watch a TV show, watch a movie, something that relates to that vibration. And that vibration, I mean, Dexter is a serial killer.
Oh, I know. I
It's
know who Dexter is.
not everybody is, not everybody knows. So that's why I was just telling
No,
the
yeah.
audience he's a serial killer. He's just a young man. He's a serial killer, but he's a police officer as well. And it's but the psychological piece of who he is, why he does it, how he gets away with it. I'm only in season 1, so I don't know any more than that. So don't anybody tell me. I'm not sure how it ever is going to end, but it's interesting. And I watched, like they're only like 40 minutes, so I'll
Mm-hmm.
watch like 2 or 3 in a night,
Mm-hmm.
and I look forward to it. I mean, it's like I'm looking forward to it. When I have a chance tonight, I'll sit down and I'll watch a couple of them because it's
Mm-hmm.
interesting and it's psychological, and it uses that energy. And I know this might sound ridiculous, but it's not. It uses the energy of what is around us. So if you like murder mysteries, or if you
Mm-hmm.
like all of a sudden just being surprised about an ending of something, watch that kind of genre, that kind of
Mm-hmm.
movie, that kind of whatever, or read the books, or do things like that, because you're actually using it. And I know they pretend, but you're actually engaging in that energy, and it will help. Okay. What's up? There's your
Uh,
finger.
yeah, no, I had taken the camera off yesterday. There's a camera
Mhm.
on my screen. And I had taken it off yesterday to do something, and I put it back up, and I didn't check that it was level. So it looked like I was sliding off into my bedroom.
So there you go. So that's what we feel. So to me, I think, as I know that sounds like whatever, but it's not. It really works. You need to engage in the
Mm-hmm.
energy that you're feeling one way or another. And even like for me, if it's just because I'm just feeling like I don't have much control, I'm feeling like I don't understand psychologically all of the games the political people are playing, and
Mm-hmm.
the slant on certain things. So I'm watching something that gives me all that insight into
Yeah.
why somebody's thinking something through. So it doesn't help me solve my problems throughout
Mm-hmm.
the things that are bothering me, but it gives me that outlet. It's just like
Yeah.
being pent up, like your dog or you being pent up, and finally you get to open the door and go out and just like play and have
Yeah, and
fun.
it's
But
fun to see things that are kind of just happening that are fun. I
yeah.
don't know how many of y'all are going to think I watch nothing but British shows, which is kind of true. But there's a show called Sorted Foods, which is for English kids, and they're kids compared to me, and they started this like 11 or 12 years ago, and they all went to high school together, and when they finished college, one had finished a chef school, and so he took his 3 friends just on a lark on YouTube, and they're called
Mhm.
the Normals, and he teaches them how to cook. That's the genesis of it. But they have gotten into all kinds of things. I've learned so much about international foods and so much about
Terrific.
all. And 2 weekends ago, they every once in a while they have a live show that runs over a whole weekend. It was
Hmm.
Saturday and Sunday, and my
Yeah.
daughter really enjoys these guys. So I bought the pay-per-view ticket, which was dirt cheap. We could,
Hmm.
because of how our system's set up, I could blow it up and put it on the TV, and we sat there and just had the best weekend of
Yeah.
watching these guys supposedly abandoned on the shores of Britain. And
Hmm.
all I could say is I've been in, I don't know if you've ever been to England, but the
Hmm.
water there is about as warm as it is in New England. I
Yeah.
mean, it's
It's not
cold.
warm. It
And
might be warm right now.
even though it's summertime, but it was lovely. And you always learn tips and tricks and things that help you make you better.
Yeah.
If you cook, I cook. So,
Well, I was just popping up your chart just to make sure, because I forget who I'm talking to. Not that way, but what chart you have. You're a
mhm,
Taurus,
right.
and with Mars and Uranus in the sign of Taurus,
Oh, yes.
Taurus rules food. So it doesn't have to even be exactly aspecting you, but that
Hmm.
means Mars has just moved through there over the last week or so,
Hmm.
and that would be something perfect for you because
Yeah.
it's food and it feels good and it helps you to decompress. So everybody out there, whether you know your chart or not, that doesn't matter. But what really matters is that you find the thing that can help. It's okay to be distracted a little bit right now. There's just
Right.
so this it's just the energy is just too heavy for us not to find a way to just to unplug and just to like go away and just not be connected. And I can't kayak. I was telling Nancy Jean this earlier. I can't kayak right now. First of all, it's too bloody hot. And second is when I cleaned the kayak the other day, because if it sits too long, I have to go clean it out because too many spiders. So once a week I'll go flip it over and clean it out. And I flipped it back over, I put the padlock back on, and then I proceeded to walk away and realized I didn't have the key in my hand. I dropped it, not knowing I dropped it, and I haven't found the key since. I almost swore. And I can't find the key. I can't find it. I've been trying for 3 days. And what the universe has done is like put me on my hands and knees in the thick grass. I live in an small apartment complex, which has thick grass, just doing this, hands and knees on the ground. And I'm like, oh, the universe really wants me grounded right now. And I'm still pissed off that I lost the key because I got to go get some loppers now and cut it because I've been looking for 3 days. I can't find it. But yeah, but the story there is, the moral of the story is like something distracted me. I got lost because I couldn't find the key. And now I'm like on my hands and knees. I'm sure my neighbors are like, what the hell is wrong with this woman?
Yeah, I know you're having to problem solve in a problematic time.
Yes, it's craziness. But
Well,
that's what's happening.
we did get
Yeah.
a couple questions.
Okay. I was seeing a few things, but that's why I'm looking down every once in a while. But I haven't had a chance to really read anything.
What do you want to bring up first? We don't need to
I
bring
have
up.
no idea. You tell me. I haven't really had a chance to read any of them.
The chart I talked to you about February 28th, 1991.
Yes.
Did you get it set up?
It's right in front of me.
This person is looking for work and would like to know, they've never not been able to go snap their fingers and not get work. And so this is a little frustrating.
I could see that. Let's put up two charts. One around the other, and see what is going on. It'll just shift out of the blue, honestly. Things will just shift out of the blue because this chart has that Mars-Uranus conjunction is right at the ascendant for this person.
Yeah.
And that just means that that's the thing about this Mars-Uranus conjunction. It can show up, a shift can show up at the drop of a hat, just like getting a phone call, just like getting a phone call, just bam, done. People are kind of holding off a little bit on making big choices. So whatever the profession is, let me see. I really don't, you know what? There's something. I haven't had a chance to look. So you guys are seeing the process at the same time. I think we got something pretty decent happening by the end of the month. So over the next couple of weeks, there's a Jupiter transit that will
help
elevate and help the situation. Yeah. And Mars moves into Gemini in that time frame too. So I do feel that there is absolutely something coming up by the time we get to the end of this month. But we do have a full moon coming up on Sunday. And I was just working on that today before we started talking. I'm going to make that video, will be up at the end of today. But the full moon on Sunday, the 21st, at the end of Capricorn, at 29 Capricorn, is something that's really significant for this individual as well. Is she forgetting? Are they forgetting to? They might be forgetting some key education or certificate to the resume.
They have every certificate and resume that you can have in their field, but their field's being bombed by AI because it's in computers. And there's so much going on with companies not knowing what to do about AI. The last big project she was on was keeping AI out of companies.
Okay. Yeah, and I could see that. Pluto conjunct Saturn in the natal chart, the transit Pluto conjunct Saturn, and this full moon coming up Sunday, the 21st, will be significant for a shift. It should be she should be able to see clearly by the time we get to the end of the week.
That's what I get the feeling when I talk to her is you're just not, I always warn people, having been involved with elections, between the sort of spring before the November election and the election, companies don't hire people. Everybody gets in their armed camp and they get into their fixed mindset, and
Yeah.
they just don't. It's There's so much hiring goes on
Hmm.
after an election if
Hmm.
it's normal. Of course, last election when, well, 2022 was sort of normal.
Yeah.
And that's when we had a big buildup in our manufacturing, buying, selling. And this person does back up internationally. So they're not particularly hit, although they love our country because it works. I mean, we're still creating stuff, but they can work internationally. But they're just like, for the first time ever, they feel kind of cut off, and you know.
I can see that. I can see that. And there should be some wiggle room by the time we get to this full moon on the 21st, because that the sun shifts into Leo just
Mhm.
after that. So, and that connects with her Jupiter, and we have Pluto and the full moon connecting with Saturn. So there should be some movement. There
Okay.
should be some movement, but it's good if you're out of work. Hopefully, she has available a few months of wiggle room.
Oh, she's a planner, and we were talking
Okay.
about it, and she said, I haven't had to move out of my bank account yet, and this is going on the third month. And she
Okay.
said, at 5 months, I have to start going into the reserves I prefer not to hit. But they're only in their early 30s. So,
And the reason I ask that is because I actually do see something as well, something a little more significant,
hmm
especially if they work in the foreign country or foreign companies
hmm
from the country they live in. October.
okay.
All right. So there is
Yeah.
something, and some form of partnership or some a connection, because
hmm
the astrology, I don't have to tell you what the astrology is, but I can see a shift in
hmm
October. Yeah, it's like the third week in October,
Yeah, there's going to be
approximately.
some weird crap happening in banking that time. Not to
That's
tell you your business, Dorothy, but I've already seen that one. I have
what?
a
What
mentor.
business?
I
I'm
have a
not in
woman.
banking.
I have a woman that I mentor, and we talk when everything's gets serious around her. And
Hmm.
she was thinking about going back into banking.
Oh.
And I talked to her, and I explained to her what the aspects from what I could see in the cards and stuff. And she said,
Hmm.
I don't think I'll go there. And she's since told me that that was right. Okay.
Yeah.
So enough of that one. We've got a
Okay.
off the board thing. Envision
Okay.
transformation coaching. What does Jupiter in the first house mean?
When Jupiter transiting or by natal, let's do two
That's her
things.
natal chart. It's in her
In the
natal.
natal chart. Oh,
hmm
Jupiter in the first house in the natal chart. It depends on what sign it's in too. But Jupiter overall just means you have a big presence. People will see you. You could physically be a big person. It
hmm
depends on the zodiac sign and the rising sign. And so put that in if you would, and you can tell me while I'm talking. So it would represent, you being somebody who has a big personality or physically
hmm
big. It could also represent somebody who is incredibly honest and truthful, like through the between the eyes, never really holding back on telling the truth. Sometimes that's hard for people to handle, but it's your thing to talk the truth. It can also represent being somebody who is an educator or a teacher, because Jupiter loves the truth, but it loves sharing information, it loves
hmm
gathering information, it always wants to educate others. So there's a number of ways this can show up, and then we can fine tune that by knowing the rising sign and the sign that Jupiter is in. It could be the same, but it might not be. Um, so there is that. So that's what we have with that. It can just be just like really a big personality, and somebody who is just very gregarious and honestly fun loving. Jupiter is
hmm
fantastic. Jupiter will expand whatever it's connecting to. So those are some more
My Ju-
details as well.
my Jupiter's at 1 degree of Aquarius, and when Jupiter and Saturn met, they met on my natal Jupiter. So I had to go out and see it just because. For those
Yeah,
of
it's
you
a
who
good
don't know
thing to
that,
do. Yeah.
that has to
Hmm.
do with the 200-year cycle of which sign rules us, and we're
Hmm.
now in air, guys.
Yeah, 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 and yeah, I see that. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. So that helps. There's a one piece there. Um, what else do we have? We need the relief with the full moon. I can talk more about that full moon if
Please
there.
talk about that full moon, because I don't think most people understand how important it is. And also, if we could talk about how to use this full moon. What do we do on full moon day? I mean, other than going out and say, "Ooh, what a pretty moon."
Everybody knows the full moon. What we do with the full moon. Um, this one is unique in a sense. This happens every few years or so, where we will have um, the astrological full blue moon, if you will. It's just a thing. It's a calendar thing, but astrologically, June 21st, we had full moon at 1 degree of Capricorn. And on July 21st, we have a full moon at 29 degrees of Capricorn. So it's like bookends.
Mm-hmm.
And so this one is unique in that way, that one is connected to the other, just because one's at the beginning of Capricorn, and that energy is when it was on June 21st, just before summer solstice, we had this opportunity to focus on what is business about, what is my business, where do I feel safe, secure, what are my boundaries, what are the rules, what are the
Mm-hmm.
regulations, how do I feel. I think that one of the biggest things to me is like my security, my planning, my security, how I feel safe and not fearful. And so we're going to see a lot of these things come to the surface. Full moons is when everything is illuminated. Nothing's hidden during a full moon. Nothing, because we, as an example, we have the sun is up as long as it's up, and as soon as that sets, we have a full moon. So we have light 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
Just, well, not 7, but 24 hours. And the point is like the full moon represents an opportunity where we see everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything, nothing's hidden. It's like, who has a junk drawer? Here in New England, we have junk drawers, and
Oh,
I
they're
just opened it
universal.
up to see if
They're
I could find a
universal.
spare key. I don't have a spare key, but everybody has junk drawers, and it's just like to open up that junk drawer and dump it on the table, and you could see everything. That's a full moon. And it shows us what is available to us. And that is when, excuse me a sec, that is when we have an opportunity to release things. Just to
Mm-hmm.
know, it's just like, oh, I just did this earlier. I had a boatload of elastics, and I'm like, those are so dried out and old, throw them away. And
Mm-hmm.
all these little silica things that come in my vitamins, it's like I just throw them in that drawer, and I'm like, why am I keeping
Mm-hmm.
this? I clear it out. But now I'm going to have stuff that I know that I can use, nice
Mm-hmm.
and mixture of things, so I can keep it and I can use. Full moon is like that. It's like putting everything on the table, seeing everything that's available to you, and keeping what is working, and just getting rid of what doesn't work. And even simply doing a physical activity like that is a great way to use a full moon. And again, it's not until the 21st, but as we get to it, the 21st, and the full moon phase will be for 2.5 days from the 21st on. And so look at in your life what is working and what isn't, you know, what makes you
Mm-hmm.
feel safe and what makes you feel fearful, because these both of these full moons are Capricorn. The one on
Right.
July 21st at the very end of Capricorn, that analytic degree, meaning we really are focusing on, are we secure? Is this our
Mm-hmm.
security? We saw a big fail over the weekend on that, but
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? But you want to look at your life and decide, it's like, do I feel safe? Do I feel secure? Am I prepared?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to do it from a place of fear. But if you are doing it from a place of fear, at least recognize it. It's like, I am fearful of this. So am I doing something because I'm afraid of something? Or am I doing it because I know it helps me to feel secure? I want you to shift your energy to feeling secure, not feeling afraid.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that we can do with the full moons that we have, these two full moons in Capricorn. Gives us that opportunity to absolutely shift away from being fearful of what we don't have control over to begin with, but what can you control in your own life? That's where it comes down to. So
Well,
what do you do?
we have a suggestion for you about light. Look at night with a flashlight. The key would reflect out of the grass.
Oh, thank you, Linda.
And I'd
That's
already suggested to her about magnets. She doesn't have any that are powerful enough. But
what a good idea. Oh, I love you. I will put it in there if I find it. I did try a magnet. I have these little magnets that are on my fridge. You know, the big
oh
stones. They
no,
look like
those aren't going to be
they,
strong enough.
they no, they look like hematite. They're hematite. They're
Yeah.
wicked heavy. They're wicked strong. And I went through and I just did that too. But I'll try it again when the sun goes down. It's too hot now, but yeah, that's a
Oh,
great idea. Flashlight, awesome. Um, yeah. So that last degree, um,
it's
and
tough.
yeah, is tough. Yeah, it really is. Especially if you own any. Somebody here, Jean, you have something at zero. Oh, at the last degree of Cancer. Okay. So yeah, and I know this last degree of Capricorn, let's speak about it nationally, globally, if you will. Nationally is important. You know, the United States, Pluto is really close to that degree. And
Hmm.
Pluto in the sky will retrograde back into Capricorn in the fall. Yeah, he goes back in there. Oh, I don't know. I have it written down, but I don't care right now. Um, but it does. It Pluto will transit back into Capricorn, where this full moon is, within a
Hmm.
couple minutes of this full moon. So we have an opportunity here to really make a big change in our lives. And so for the chart I just read, that person I read for February, you know, it's important to recognize, but am I barking up the wrong tree? Should I take my skills and talents and
Hmm.
shift to something that's just a little more secure?
Hmm.
Only that person knows, because I don't know that person's field at all.
I don't trust me. They could sit here for 5 hours and tell me what they do, and I wouldn't understand a word of it.
So whatever they understand, whatever they know their career is, and their skills is like, see if there's a way to shift that if it's not working out, to shift
Hmm.
that, because you know, and that will happen in October. And what did I say? Let's just look when Pluto shifts back. I forget, but I got to do it. I got to look. I got to look. It shifts back into Capricorn early September, like September 2nd, September 3rd.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then it stays in that sign all the way through. Oh yeah, that's right. Right around the election.
Hmm.
No,
I
the
think
week
it moves
after.
with the election. I don't
Just the
like it
week after.
when big planets move on big dates. It's not a.
Right, it's right after the election, and so that means Pluto's going to be in Capricorn during the election. So, um, it just, I, I don't
We
want to go
could,
political.
if we just sat down and said, let's draw the most effed up chart we could. Because basically, the email I sent to Dorothy last week was, "It's kind of crazy around here. Is that what's going on up in the sky?" And she wrote, "Yes, let's do a show."
Yeah.
Um,
Yep. Yeah.
this is a question I get from people. Why do I get insomnia right before the full moon?
Because it's light. Everything's light. The energy is high. The moon in and the moon is the vibration of it. You know how, you
Hmm.
know, the moon pulls the water around the planet, so it looks like a full moon. And I mean, a
Hmm.
high tide, low tide, it just brings that to a head. Again, it's because the moon and the sun are in direct connection with each other, exact full connection with each other. It's just a vibration that we feel, right? Just
Hmm.
like the scientists won't agree with anything of that, but we do, because we know the tides, you know, and we have higher tides during full moons, and higher tides and lower tides during full moons. And it's just because of the moon. It's not necessarily that the moon is closer, because that's not true every full moon. It's true a
No,
couple of times a year, but
I actually saw an interesting video of
Neil
Neil
deGrasse,
Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm. And he was showing how the sun and the moon are pulling on the planet, and they're pulling the water out like this funny thing. And it's
yeah,
the earth, it's the land on the earth rotating in it that causes
mm,
the tides. The
yeah.
tides stay where they are.
Isn't it amazing? I watch it and I'm like, wow, it's so hard to
That's pretty
grasp.
cool.
Yeah, it's
Doesn't
pretty
solve the
cool.
problem.
But yeah, that's, to me, that's what it was. So insomnia, because it's not dark. It's not dark. There's no inner reflection. It's all an outer reflection. So energetically, it just means that we're meant to pay attention, stay awake, and focus on all those
It's
things.
not true that scientists aren't really interested in this. I had a
Yeah.
doctor who took care of when I had sleep apnea when I was overweight. She was treating me for that. She also had 5 psychics, and she could take our 30-day sleep reports, and she could tell what days I'd been reading and what days I hadn't by how my sleep patterns felt. And she said that was true of all the psychics. When they were working,
Yeah.
it
Mhm.
it rearranges your brain a little bit. And she said, I really wish I could figure out a way to write up a thing for that. Okay, we got
Yeah.
another interesting thing. My ears start ringing when the earth has earthquakes.
Oh, isn't that interesting? Well, that would make sense. The vibration, I would expect,
Mm-hmm.
right?
You're
Wouldn't
just
you
like the
think?
critters, the animals that know.
Hmm.
Now you know
Yeah.
what they're sensing.
Yeah. Yeah. And the earth is pretty amazing. I already used a hand rake, by the way. Somebody mentioned a hand rake. Is there a way to share my screen with this with everybody? I wanted to show you something else.
If can you does it show the normal YouTube stuff at the bottom? You can set
It
up a
says it
present.
present,
Mm-hmm.
share screen.
Did you find it?
I did. Let's see if it shows up.
Guys, this is learning by doing. This is how we learn YouTube. We practice on you.
Okay. All right. Oh, nope. My browser is blocking it. Oh, poopies.
Oh,
Oh,
poo.
well.
Well,
Yep.
next time, Dorothy will have great ideas before she comes on, and she'll send them to me, and I can present them. Yes.
I was thinking of this earlier and I didn't remember it until later. But yeah, it's quite interesting. So let me try one more time. Share the screen, share the screen, share screen or window. Oh, I see. It is share, which one? The picture. All right, I figured it out.
Okay. Oh, got it. Okay. That.
Okay, there it is. Yes, what I wanted to show you. I wanted you
Mm-hmm.
to see that this is a change of subject, but we talked about this in our last video ages ago
Right.
when that's the path of the eclipse. And we've talked about this before, and this is that last hurricane that went through. Of course, they cut New England off because we don't exist. But the totality was in northern New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and we have had the worst. I'm in New Hampshire. I'm way down here, but the worst flooding in upstate New York,
Mm-hmm.
northern New Hampshire has been absolutely brutal, right through this whole area. And this is where that hurricane has moved through as well. It went through just the same area. And I remember talking, I just wanted to, I know it's a big change of subject, but I just wanted that to show up for you guys. Another astrologer made this picture, by the way, but just so you guys could see. Now, we also just had last night up in the Chicago area, which is right in here, tornadoes really hit the Chicago area really heavy last night. And so this path of totality from the eclipse back
Mm-hmm.
in whenever that was. Here we
Did
go.
you want that back, Dorothy? Did you want the
Nope,
roll back?
nope, that's fine.
Okay.
Um, that is just something that I just wanted you guys to see, that there is just always a lot of weather, always a lot of stress. And so even politically, there's going to be a lot of stuff that goes on in those areas. So keep an eye out for that too. Yeah.
I got a question about stressful questions. Okay.
Okay.
How do we line up our birth charts with the planet, Pluto,
Mhm.
Algar, Mars lineup?
So how do you line up? You have to have your natal chart is the anchor. So you create your natal chart first, and then you
Mm-hmm.
have to do a bi-wheel, and that means you have a second chart of where the current transits are, go on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to have the software that can create a bi-wheel.
And some freebies out there that do that.
Yep,
But if you
astro.com.
really want to do it,
Mm-hmm.
you can contact. Now I get to put some of
Yes.
the work together.
Yes. Yeah,
Go
it really
to
makes a difference.
Dorothy's website.
Mhm.
And if you want to, if you're someone working, I just saw your website. I'm going to send my website developer over to your website and
Mhm.
saying, why doesn't mine look like that? Um, well, it doesn't look like that because I'm not Dorothy Morgan, but
Yeah.
um, if she lines up all the different kinds of readings she does, you do natal chart
Mhm.
readings, you do year projections, you do
Yep.
specific things like if you had wanted a question about where those planets fit. I know some of the astrologers are making a big deal out of algol, which I'd never heard of in my life. In my
Mhm.
75 years, and I studied astronomy, uh, astrology
Yeah.
40 years ago. But they always
Yep.
got to find something new. It's like all those teeny tiny little planets that
I
they've
know.
screwed my charts.
Algol has been a big one for a long time for anybody who knows about them. I've known about it for years, and it's it's represented by just a decapitated head of a Medusa, and so but I don't know what goes on now, and it's a little mind boggling and obnoxious, to be honest. Sometimes it's just like people just pick something, like every full moon's dramatic, every transit's drama, full of drama.
Mm-hmm,
Everything is just so sensationalized these days
mm-hmm,
that I'm just, I get drowned out, of course, because I'm just here talking, giving you good content to run your life and not to be over dramatic about anything. I got a Capricorn moon. I am very logical, very practical, not drama driven at all. And so I don't play that game. So I kind of
mm-hmm.
get pushed off to the side. So if you really want, good astrology content, of course, listen to me. But then that's a little ego
If
driven
you
right
want to
there.
listen to
But
someone the night before to hear the
yeah,
next day, watch
yeah.
Dorothy's because she's never going to scare you so bad you won't get out of bed.
No, no, because and I'm not a Pollyanna because I see when there's heavy duty shit going on.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I swear a lot. I've done really good not to swear in 40 minutes.
Yeah, it's not.
But
It's the first time anyone said anything offensive on this channel. I want you to.
no. um, yeah, it's just really it's all I really want to do is just work with people to feel like here's the information, use it so you feel empowered, or at least have some control, or at least understand, all of those things. Understand this is what's going on right now. We
Mm-hmm.
all feel this Mars Uranus algol conjunction. The moon is opposite that right now. It'll be done in a couple of hours from this recording, this live, I mean. And once the moon moves into Sag, we will feel a little bit lighter for the next couple of days. Doesn't mean there's still not some heavy things going on, but we'll just feel a little more like, oh, geez, I can breathe, the exact. So that's how I want to use astrology. I want us just to use it in everyday life. I don't want to be over sensational with it because it doesn't mean anything to most people when all you're doing is making people afraid, and that's just not what I want. Do we have tough aspects? Absolutely, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But this conjunction, how we all saw it in its darkest potential way, of people passing away over this weekend, you know um and that was pretty rugged. But it's also, that conjunction was an opportunity for a lot of people to really feel inspired about something because they have nothing to do with what went on politically and personally over this weekend, but they feeling inspired to create, inspired big breakthroughs. And that's not being, I'm not ignoring what isn't what's
No.
happening. It's just another way that we could actually open up to these energies, be creative,
And
be
the other thing
expressive.
is, can I do anything about it? I mean, if that
Exactly.
crap's happening over, you know, but I have a question. I've never seen this. What does signature sign mean, such as 4 times fire, 5 times mutable equals Sag? Huh? That's like bad
Oh
Al.
yeah. Yeah. What a person is doing here is we look at your planets,
Mm-hmm.
no extras, just the planets, the ascendant and the midheaven, and
Mm-hmm.
what signs those planets are in. And this isn't always the case for everybody, but some people will have like this one is, that means the person has at least has four somethings. So four planets or the ascendant midheaven in a fire sign. And then there are five planets in mutable signs. So
Mm-hmm.
that is a Sagittarius signature. It doesn't even mean that they might not even have any planets in Sagittarius, because there's three
Oh,
signs that are fire signs. There's Aries, Leo, and Sag. A person could have a whole bunch of planets in Aries and Leo, and they could also have a few other planets in mutable signs, which are Gemini, Virgo, and Sagittarius. So they might not have anything in Sagittarius, but they have a bunch of other planets that are fire signs and mutable signs. And so that means there's a signature of Sagittarius. So yeah, that's one of the basic things that I look at, that every client. Every
really?
client, that is one of the first things I look at. I look at a few things, can't look at everything all at once, but that is in the top three or four things I do immediately. What's their signature?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you look at it. So as a
Cool.
beginner astrologer, you want to learn about the elements and the modalities. I have a class online that you can buy all by yourself. You don't need me to yak at you. It's
You
all
can,
automated. So you can
right.
get that on my website. And so I love that, because it helps just to see. You don't have to know anything else about the person. You can just, like, they've got that Sag signature. So they're always going to have this flair about them. They're
Mm-hmm.
going to feel Sag, which is information, which is truthfulness, which is playful, very
Mm-hmm.
active, very mutable. Yep. It's good. I love that.
Well, good. I learned something today.
Yay. And some
Yeah.
people don't have that. Some people will have it evenly placed, which is
Mm-hmm.
nice, right? All the different planets. And then some people will have like tons of planets just in like mutable Earth. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
thinking of a client now that has a ton of mutable Gemini rising, has like six things in Virgo, so this person is just absolute Virgo, mutable Earth.
Mm-hmm.
But she's lacking anything in fire. There's no fire in her chart at all. Maybe Sag is Saturn's in Aries. Yeah. She has one thing in a fire sign. So that means she is lacking an element. So you want to look at that too. So that
Mm-hmm.
means they're going to step more into, they're going to attract people that are something that they're missing,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's an element or a modality. They'll attract people that helps bring that into their lives. And sometimes then they're also hyper focused on that, like
Mm-hmm.
taking action, because they have very little fire in their chart, so they're taking action. And that's just another way to look at it too.
Okay,
So
what's that module called if you go over to Dorothy's wonderful website?
oh, it is just, it's on the homepage. Just scroll down until you see classes,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll lead you through it. um it's yeah, it's not on there. um I can post it later when we're done. I can go in and put the
Okay.
link in after we're done the live.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go and put the link in the comments at the
Okay,
end
good.
of this. Yeah, so you guys can
Good.
see it, because
Okay.
it takes a couple of clicks to get to it, but it's just a full package. So you can automate it. So there's a workbook with it. It's me narrating the videos. There's 5 videos. So it's
Mm-hmm.
about 2.5 hours of classes.
Yeah,
And
and I do not find that Dorothy's voice puts me to sleep. There are some other readers,
okay.
and I love them dearly, but if I try to listen to them, it's like, oh, I'm going to find this one because I can go to bed now. Um,
Yeah.
okay,
Right.
Dorothy, Nancy, and Dorothy, was there
No,
really 13 signs in the past life like Leo said?
no, no,
Okay.
never. It's just the Ophiuchus is a constellation that is near with our zodiac, but the constellations, but it's not part of it. It is near it. It's got a little
Hmm.
foot in there. A little foot. A foot is in there. It's in between Sag and Capricorn. So no, between Scorpio and Sagittarius, Ophiuchus. But no, never, never, never has been 13 signs.
I don't. Yeah, I can't think of any. I'm doing going to be doing a show with Danny Shea on 8/8 Lionsgate, which is
Oh, great.
really because it's the eighth day of the eighth month in the universal year of eight.
Oh, I know. How nice.
I know it's fun. and I got
Yeah.
to talk about numerology and stuff. But one of the things I've been looking at is a lot of sacred geometry, because we're also going to talk
Mhm.
about ley lines. The
Okay.
core of our thing is the Hopi myth and the myth from South America about the
Mhm.
spider woman that sat in the middle of the planet and spun her web across the whole
Ooh.
world, and that's the ley lines.
I love that. Yeah, I'm just looking at the astrology of that, and I mean, Mercury is retrograde in that time frame, but
Well, we're doing a show on the 1st of August. What are you doing the 1st of August? Do you want to come on and be our resident astrologer?
I could do that.
Because Danny and I both suck at it. So,
Yeah, well, yeah. Let's talk about it off air.
okay.
So I'm wide
And I
open
ought
that
to
day. So
really ask Danny because, and he's hiking in the desert somewhere.
oh, that's nice. I like that.
No,
Yeah,
you're hiking in the desert. It's 90 degrees.
I'm not going to do it. I used to live in New Mexico. I lived in New Mexico for a lot of years back in the 90s, but yeah, it's a bit much. But I liked it. It's nice. It's a dry heat. And it really makes a difference. I'm not kidding. I mean, hot is hot. An oven is an oven, but it's
Yeah.
still when
I
it's
have,
92 and the humidity's over 70%, you're like, oh, there's
oh
no
no, that's
breathing.
when you wilt and melt and die. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, we've got things like that ourselves right now. But yeah. So mhm,
8-8
mhm.
Lionsgate's going to be this one's going to be interesting. We've already had Danny and I have visions about that date, and that helps. That's kind of sets the tone for what we're looking for. We got
Okay, that'll
someone,
be fun.
okay, this poor person lives in Florida and it's a sauna.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. That's actually, I would think some of the things going on in Florida, that would be the least of your problems. I
I
had a
know.
friend, well, Sean, that was with me on Sunday, we were talking politics.
Mhm.
He did Florida, the last presidential cycle,
Yes, yes, I heard that.
and they would plan their walking program, and and out in the universe it said, "Oh, a walking program. Let's send a hurricane." And
Jesus. Oh
everything had to
no.
be. And so this time they're talking to Sean, and he may still be going to Florida because he's still negotiating. He's done their reports and he's done that part of the work, but where's he going to go? And he's
Yeah,
like, "Not Florida." He said, "Can
yeah.
you pedal faster on my stars, Mom?" "Not Florida." And I said, "Mommies can't do that."
No, we want to, but we can't. Yeah,
Mm-mm.
it makes a difference.
And I want everyone to, I keep forgetting to do this, but you need to like the show
Yes.
and subscribe to my channel and to Dorothy's if you're not part of my. Dorothy sends out stuff every day. She sends out
Hmm.
shorts. She sends
Yep.
out all kinds of stuff, and her
Hmm.
stuff's really good. And it's um,
Yeah. We do the Patreon too. And the Patreon, it's a membership platform. And right now you can get like 7 days free and check it out. But the third tier is really nice. It's $11 a month. But you know, you get the new moon, the full moon, all of that. Everybody gets that. But then the weekly forecast, I get that ahead, and that is significant because I mean I'll talk for a half hour, 45 minutes
mhm,
about the next 7 days and really go through
mhm,
the aspect, show you the charts, tell you how to use it. And it really is in-depth content. And that's where it goes. I mean, I do the free shorts and they're just the tiniest little tidbits. People are like, that's not enough information. And I'm like, I know, it's free.
it's it's a
It's
teaser.
free. It's a teaser.
What part of teaser don't you understand?
That's right. Little tidbit, little tidbit. Because I mean, I do earn my living this way. So, you know, there's no other, I don't have a W-2 job. And so it's, so yeah, I mean, that if you're really serious about it, I mean, you can even just check it out for a month. I mean, you get 6 forecasts for
Mhm.
1 month. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
And those hours of content. So, but at the very least, the YouTube shorts, and then I put them on my Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, but it's really good besides just liking, just saying a couple of words. It's like, saw it, great. I don't care what you say. Even those haters out there, I just always leave the content up now because even the haters out there, unless they're spamming people, you keep it on there because they just bump it as much as they don't
Mhm.
like you. They bump your content when they just start
Yeah,
telling
it
you that.
doesn't matter whether you push thumbs up or thumbs down. Don't push
No,
thumbs down, but Thumbs
Yeah.
up is the best,
Yeah.
but they YouTube has its own way of counting the world.
It's craziness. It's yeah, the algorithms are a bit much. Is there any good astrology for healing the politics in Florida? So much corruption. Gene, there's corruption everywhere. I know there's a ton of corruption everywhere. No, I can't say there is any good. Um, but it is pretty scary.
Well,
I think it's scary everywhere, honestly,
mhm.
but I don't know the specifics of how Florida is different than the country, but
Well, it's theoretically attached to the 48 contiguous, although it looks like a little handle that you should be able to shake off. But
yeah.
I'll tell you exactly when Florida's politics got into the current cycle of corruption.
uh
It's when Jeb Bush ran.
Really?
He took the Texas line of politics over there and
Mhm.
instilled it, and then they turned around and crushed him, which should be a lesson to all people. You know, if they'll do it to the other guy, they'll do it to you. And
Mhm.
you're going to see a whole lot of that this fall.
Yes, because Pluto moving into, going back into Capricorn. I mean, we already have a lot going on already, and a lot of things just really needing to be stirred up. But and there's no doubt the pot is already stirred. But I think with Pluto entering the Capricorn, it's just like how we can continue to have the system the way we have it and
Mm-hmm.
continue to vote for the lesser of two at this point in time. I mean, most people, that's how they always vote. I can't
Right.
even remember voting for the actual person I wanted to vote for, and I've been voting since 1980,
Yeah.
and I've always voted for the lesser of two. I mean, I can feel it pretty strongly right now, but you know,
Well, the problem is
anyways.
you have people who are in powerful positions
Hmm.
and they make decisions for lots of people.
Yeah,
And it's really tempting. I cannot tell you. I love what Pluto's doing right now because it's
yeah,
exposing so much
it is.
of where the bad things come from.
Mhm.
And there was a long time when you couldn't get anybody to look at where the bad things came from.
That's right.
I always ran clean, really, really clean campaigns, which is probably why I didn't have that many victories. But the
Yeah,
ones I had were really dramatic because they were ones
yeah,
no one thought could make it. And
yeah,
you know, I- if anyone who's ever been married, you go into a marriage thinking this is going to be a wonderful thing. Then when you get close enough to it, you realize, whoa, there are problems here. And there are
yeah,
probably problems on both sides, but there are those of us who refuse to look in the mirror,
yeah,
myself included.
yeah.
So
So yeah, Gene, yes, Pluto does expose the dirt. It
it
absolutely
does.
does.
That's why it has
That's
that little
it.
crook on the bottom of the P. It just plows through the dirt, unearthing.
Oh, that's a good idea. It's a good idea. I didn't think of it that
That's
way.
how I learned it.
Oh,
It goes
yeah.
through unearthing
I
everything.
don't draw it like that, but that makes perfect sense. Yeah. I think
So,
it's yeah, it brings things to the surface. And again, having anything at that final degree of any zodiac sign. And again, this full moon on the 21st of July, just to kind of tie this all together, that full moon on the 21st of July at 29 Capricorn will bring to light the old ways, the old system, the old boys club, all of those things that is being shown to us. We can see it in the politics, we can see it in the news. Look
hmm
at it in your own life and make your own decisions. Politics aside, look at what's important for you.
hmm
Okay. Like I said, I'm going to record that forecast after we're done here, after I take a little break, and then it'll be on YouTube in a little while, a couple hours from now.
And then
And
Dorothy's going to dash out at the sunset looking for her key.
I am once it gets dark, and then I'll have to cover up. The mosquitoes are brutal. Then when we get to Pluto in Capricorn, what it's not quite there again the last time, but it's bringing all that to the surface. Pluto is the hidden, the dark, the deep,
Right.
the dark, and the Uranus component is the chaos, and we have a lot of chaos people, chaos agents, you can call them really stirring things up. So we're really meant to see this, to see where our flaws are and as a nation, but bringing it back to you and me, seeing where we may need to shore something up in our
Mhm.
life, so we personally can live from a place that's not from fear, but from a
Mhm.
place that we feel like we're on our own authority. And that's where we want to be.
And
Yeah.
then to wrap it up on Thursday, I'm going to be finishing the grid that I've been building. It'll be built, and I'll go over
Hmm.
all the pieces again. And I'm also having on a lady named Debbie who learned a technique for surrounding people that disturb you with light so that they
Hmm.
get to you and so that their own actions reflect back on them and they either learn
Nice.
from them or not. But that she's going to teach us a meditation to do that. It'll be 1 o'clock Central Time on Thursday. And I hope you'll come because that's right before the moon. And so, all those people you're feeling that about, you can stick them in their little bubbles, get rid of them.
That'd be great. Shove them in there.
Shove them
That'll
in
be
their
good.
bubbles.
Yes,
Go to Dorothy's site, get some readings done. You do astrocartography too, don't you?
I can a little bit enough. I mean, I'm
I
not full on
well,
blown
I
on that,
ask
but
people ask me about that all the time, and I say, oh,
yes,
so they don't
it's a
ask
hot,
me to do it. Trust me, they don't
it's
want.
a hot item. It's a hot item. I mean, the real professionals that do it really have a huge. You have to find the real professionals that do it. There's just a few, not the people you can
That's
find in little groups, and they're $500-600 an hour. So they
so you can go
really.
to You can go to Dorothy and get a quick version of it, and then decide, do I really want to invest that much more money in all that?
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm still doing my readings. You're at the very end of, I can do 6 month readings to the end of the year because July to December's 6 months. And, guys,
Mhm.
it's what we do. So don't somebody send me a note. You talk about what you do for money all the time.
Yep.
That's because you don't think this body got fed to this height by not having money to buy
That's
it,
right.
you know?
That's right.
So,
It's
everybody, thank you so
it
much
is.
for being here and joining
Yeah.
us.
Thank you, everybody.
And we will talk to you later. Bye, Dorothy.
Bye.